My name is Carolyn, and I talk to the spirit world. Travel with me to a dimension filled with love, light, and joyful surprises. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom.
Hi everyone, Carolyn Wilkins here. I am thrilled to welcome you to yet another edition of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom 2021. Can you believe it? Amazing. I'm so happy to still be here. Obviously, I have yet to go into the studio, and it looks like the way things are going, I won't be going into the studio for a while, but I'm kind of comfy here. I'm sitting in front of my piano. Of course, you can't tell that, but I'm in a cozy little nook in my living room and happy to share this edition of the Psychic Playroom with you. In a minute, I'm going to bring on my very special guest all the way from the Netherlands. She's a medium. She is a wise woman. She's a writer. She's a blogger. She has so many gifts and so much to share. Juliet. But for the moment, before I bring her on with you, I'm going to just take a moment to do a little reading. As you know, it's a new year. By the time you'll be watching it, will be around the middle of January. So I thought it would be worthwhile to just take a look at the cards. I like this little Andinkara deck here, and I'm asking the cards what qualities or characteristics we most need to focus on in the first quarter of 2021. In the first quarter of 2021, we're already halfway through January. So the Andinkara are symbols that come from Ghana, and each symbol represents a characteristic. So let's see what qualities the Andinkara cards feel it would be good for us to develop to help us move forward. I do feel 2021 is going to be the year of moving forward on goals and projects. I know that we've been very blocked. 2020 was basically just putting a pause and a hold on everything. And that was good, actually. We needed the rest. We needed the time to reorient and recuperate and gather our resources. And of course, the year has taken a terrible toll. But for those of us who are still here and able to move forward, 2021 is going to be a great time to begin doing that. So I've been shuffling the cards. What characteristics and qualities would be good for us to develop to move forward in 2021 in the first quarter, January through March? And the card that comes is Judgment. Judgment, okay? So that makes a lot of sense to me. As you know, there's a lot of rah-rah and a lot of blah-blah on the news these days. There's a lot in the newspapers. There's a lot on the internet. The rumors are flying fast and furious. And I do think that in order for us to move forward with our highest and best selves in 2021, we're going to need to exercise the quality of judgment. Don't believe the okie doke. Don't believe something just because somebody told you. Check things out. Use your common sense and really apply that higher wisdom to it. One of the big lessons that I have learned in this past year of drama and trauma is that I can choose what it is that I wish to focus on. I can choose my focus. There's a lot of things out there screaming for our attention, and a lot of things that are hoping to get us stirred up, fired up, tensed up, worried about things, fearful about things. And I'm not saying don't exercise common sense. I'm saying you can choose what it is you wish to pay attention to, and you have the power to turn off the dial, change the channel, sign off of Facebook or Insta, whatever, take a break. Use your judgment and don't just allow yourself to get sucked down into that hole of fear and drama that is so pervasive right now. Yes, you need to stay informed, but at the same time, using judgment. So that is the wisdom of the Andinkara cards today. And now, without further ado, I'm going to bring up the lovely segment I filmed earlier this year with my special guest, Juliet Moll. All right. So I am so honored today to have as my guest Juliet Joan Moll, and she is a writer, she is a medium, she's a healer, she's just an all-around amazing person, and I can't wait to ask her 3 million questions and have her share her expertise and wisdom with you. She's coming all the way from the Netherlands, which is pretty exciting also. So international flavor here on the Psychic Playroom. Please give a warm welcome to Juliet Joan Moll. Hi, Juliet. How are you today?
Hi, Carolyn. I am fine. And thank you for this wonderful introduction. Thank you for inviting me to your program. I'm really excited about it, really looking forward to it. And if I may add a little bit to the introduction, I live in the Netherlands, but originally I am from Suriname in South America. So a little bit more international here.
Even more so. So I often like to ask people about their background and ancestry. And I was just upstairs doing a little salute that I do every Sunday. I actually built a little altar for my ancestors and I salute my ancestors. And I had a great aunt who recently crossed over, so I double saluted today. So I'm all about the ancestors, and it's very interesting that you mentioned that your background from Suriname. Can you share a little bit about that?
Well, it's very interesting because my whole mediumship developed in the Netherlands. But at one point, I was already grown up, having children already. And I went to Suriname for my mother's funeral. And it was, driving behind the funeral car that I was in tears because of my mother passing, and I hadn't been there. And then all of a sudden, I heard her voice. She was speaking to me, and she said to me, you know, if you are crying, be aware that you are not crying for me. You're crying for yourself because you have lost something. But I am happy to be rid of the chains that kept me on this earth. I was in shock. I hope you can imagine that.
Yes.
And my mother had always been kind of special. And it was as if from that moment on, I was really, showered with all kinds of possibility. I didn't know what was happening to me. Of course, before that, I knew that there had been things, there had been dreams, there had been conversations that I had with God or with angels. And I wasn't brought up in a church or whatever. So I was just exploring my life, trying to find a way to be happy. And then this. And from that moment on, it was really as if a shell had been broken open.
Wow.
And I could do a lot of things, and I was at a loss. I didn't know what was happening. I knew things. I could see things. I could feel things, so to say.
Yes.
I had a friend living in Suriname, and I was, talking to her every now and then on the phone. And at one point, she telephones me, and she said to me, Juliet, I have a terrible migraine, and I know you can help me. And I thought, what am I supposed to do? I said, okay, I'm going to help you. I don't know how, but let's hang up, and I'll call you back in half an hour or so. So I just sat down and I thought, well, what now?
Yes.
And I just sat down and I just figured her sitting in front of me, sitting in my hands, so to say. So I visualized her sitting in my hands, in my open hands. And I just showered her with love, and I just willed that terrible headache to go away. Well, there I was sitting with her in my hands. I think I'm getting, cuckoo.
Yeah,
But,
right.
I'm going to call her. So after half an hour, I called her back, and I said to her, well, what about it? She said, my God, the migraine is gone.
Wow.
And
Lovely.
I had this migraine for ages. And I said, no way. I didn't know what I did. I just, I just did something. And of course, this was the first of a lot of healing that I did. And but I really felt very, very unsure about what I was doing.
Yes.
And I felt that there was always this urge, there was always this whispering around me, like you have to do this, or you can try that, or, things like that. And in reflecting now, I know that it had been my mother finding a chance to work with spirituality, because she was not allowed to when she was on this side of life.
This is what I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So it does feel, because I have also felt that there's this connection, and you find that in fact we are able, if we can connect with the ancestors and we're open to it, that sure enough we find that new things are available to us that we did not realize.
Yeah.
And I know that my books, I would not have written. I've written now, I'm on my 6th book. I would not have written them without my ancestors helping me and whispering little ideas and all of these type of things that they do. And even scientifically, of course, it's in our DNA. It's right there present within us, this gift. So this leads me to transition a little bit also to, I know that you're a medium and a healer, and you've spoken a little bit about that, and I do want to return to that more later, but I know that you're also a writer. So could you share a little bit about the kind of things you write, or what you do, or what got you interested in it?
Ooh. I'm a little shy about that. Yes.
Not sure you want to step out here on the Playroom and tell everybody about it. But you do have a blog, though, right?
Yes.
You have a blog.
Yes. Yeah,
that's public already.
Yes, so. It's public, and that was like, it was like an effort to get out there, and present myself and my ideas. And when I look back at the blogs I have written, they are always very short, very small, and a little bit dreamy-like every now and then, and sometimes more factual. And I write down ideas, small inspirations. And at one time I was rather busy with it. But because I'm also a perfectionist, I, often I think it's not good enough. But just today, I discovered some texts that I have written for courses that I have done for the Spiritualist National Union. And there are beauties.
Wow.
There are beauties. And of course, they had to be written about certain subjects, but they were free to interpret. And that's where I could share some philosophy. And
Nice.
it's beautiful. I think they are gorgeous. And I'm going to really go through all the texts that I have written. And when I think that they are worthy, I'm going to publish them.
Wow.
But even now around me, I have all kinds of scribbles, because I always write things, ideas, and I store them for when I have the time or when I can find the time to go into them more. And
Wow. Oh,
yeah,
that's exciting. And
yeah,
so it feels that although you're a little maybe shy to actually claim I am a writer, yet once you start talking about it, it turns out that lo and behold, you're constantly writing things, having new
yeah.
ideas, and now thinking about making a book. So I know also that you are very involved with the Spiritualist National Union and that work as a medium. So can you tell me a little bit about that work and what you do in that capacity?
Okay. Well, I have been a member of the international part of the Spiritualist National Union almost from the beginning. And
Mm,
in the beginning, there was hardly anyone online that could teach. So I was invited by my tutor to teach because she knew that I had been working as a teacher in other capacities in the Netherlands,
mm,
and I was completely free to present whatever I wanted.
wow.
So yeah, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I am not really into spiritualism as a lot of people are, that have been members or spiritualists from the moment they were born, so to say.
Mm.
So I thought I'm going to create a class and I'm going to call it The Joy of Mediumship. Ah, there you have it. I could be playful. So
Nice.
yes, and the description was rather general, but always like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a program from day one to at the end.
Mm, mm,
But every time I will offer something different. And the
nice.
difference is in that I like people to talk about philosophy. And
Mm.
many of the people that are members, they're only interested in mediumship. And I thought,
Oh.
this is such a missed opportunity because it is
Mm,
about the philosophy. It's about being able to express yourself as a human being in
mhm,
connection with spiritualism. And
mhm.
within spiritualism, we have these 7 principles. And around these 7 principles, we can do so many things. We can talk about life. And in fact, for me, it's very important that people work on their own personal development.
Oh, yes.
So yes, I
Preach,
always
preach.
try, yeah, always
Mm,
try to integrate those parts in
mhm.
those classes. So my classes are not very popular. I always have small groups of people, but I don't care
Mhm,
because those are the gems that I can work with.
mhm, mhm.
And for some reason, I am able um, to make people feel comfortable, to make people feel safe, so that they dare to open up and speak about a quote. I have a lot of quotes. If it is a philosophy class and they don't know about it beforehand, they can pick a quote and they don't know. what quote it will be. So they quote a quote between 1 and 86.
Mm.
And it's always a surprise to see which one pops up. So if you want to
Mm.
have number 17 and number 17 pops up, it's really a challenge to speak about that. To speak,
Ah.
it's really like,
Mm. So, in other words, you don't know what you're going to be asked to speak about, and it's kind of a random thing. You
yeah,
get a number
yeah,
and you turn over the card, and it is
yeah,
a quote that you may have heard or may never have heard. Yet, somehow, you must find a way to make it relevant first to you and then to the audience,
yeah,
and to speak in inspirational
yeah,
speaking.
yeah,
What a wonderful, wonderful class. So are
yeah.
you still teaching these or not? Or have you kind of stepped back from doing that? Or what's your
No,
current
I still
take?
do that. But
Mm-hmm.
my last class for this season
Mm-hmm.
of the Joy of Mediumship will be next Monday, because I have discovered that there was something missing. There is something missing, in my opinion,
Mm.
on the whole site, and
Ah.
that is called um, just meditation.
Ah.
I mean,
Mm.
I know many mediums, they don't think meditation is important.
Mm-hmm.
To me, meditation is very important.
Yes.
Meditation has saved my life, so to say.
Oh, yes.
And so I have asked permission to teach a class on meditation, which was
Mm.
full almost from day one, because I have also meditation class that I teach every Tuesday morning, where I do guided meditations. But
Nice.
this one is really a course where I'm going to make people become familiar with several ways to meditate.
Beautiful.
You know,
Beautiful.
like meditation for 2 minutes or meditation
Yeah.
for half an hour or whatever.
That's excellent because I will say, I think that for many of us, we have the idea that meditation is only one thing, can only be done one way. And if you're not comfortable doing it that way, you're a failure at meditation and just give up. And
Yeah.
that is wonderful. Well, that actually leads me kind of in a circular way back to um, talking about your creativity and your creative work. So, do you find that you get your best creative ideas after meditating? Do you actually kind of go into a let me meditate or let me ask the ancestors or let me connect with some kind of spiritual way? That's one question. And while you're at it, since I know you're a teacher, would you be able to offer to our audience maybe a tip of how they might better connect with their own creative self? Because I do believe we each have within us a spark of
Yeah.
something. We may not all be writers or musicians or dancers. Well, everyone has something that spirit has put on them to give to the world. So your tips around that, and if they involve meditation, that would be lovely.
Okay. So the first part, I try to meditate every day.
Mm.
And I say I try to, uh, because, well, to be honest, I meditate along the day, just like flashes of,
Mm.
becoming silent or whatever. But
Yes.
just to sit here in my practice, to sit and to meditate, I do it almost every day. And
Mm.
I put a timer to it. I put a timer for 30 minutes, because sometimes I just fly away and I'm gone for an hour or longer.
Mm.
And I always have paper and pencil nearby
Mm-hmm.
for the ideas that may come up.
Mm.
And well, I can meditate in certain ways. Usually I sit and I ask for help and guidance from my guides.
Mm.
With my guides, my parents, because they have both approached me, please let us help you.
Yes.
And a great grandfather of mine that I have never known in real life, two, two other guides that have been next to me from the beginning.
Beautiful.
And if I'm really in the mood, I ask my whole animal farm around me because I'm also working shamanistically
Nice.
according to the Peruvian, to the Inca shamans.
Ah,
And so sometimes it's very crowded here in my room, but it doesn't matter. And it is
oh,
like, I'm going on a journey. I'm
mm,
going on a spiritual journey. But first and foremost,
mm,
I want help and guidance.
nice.
And it's very often that when I come back from my journey, so to say, that I have these sparks, these sparkles of insight.
Yes.
And I can give you a small example. When you invited me for this program, I thought, what is Caroline going to ask me? What are we going to do? Or
Oh,
should I be nervous, or should I just be myself, or whatever?
oh,
And I also said for that, and there was a huge peace coming over me. So don't worry about anything. Don't worry about it, because just be yourself. And of course, you don't have to sit with your guides for that, but I do because I like it, and it's been common for me. And well, very often when you are in the middle of some situation, of course you cannot take time off to go and sit for half an hour.
right.
But I think, and that's what I hope to give the students, is that by meditating on a regular basis, you'll get so accustomed to do that that whenever something happens, you can just do that and the connection will be there.
That's right.
And
That's
that's
right.
that's what I hope to teach them. So I'm not teaching the class every week, but I do it every other week, only for 6 times. So it will take about 3 months. And the biggest part of the homework, of course, will be try to find the time to sit for spirit, to sit with spirit, to
Nice.
sit in your silence for at least 5 minutes,
Nice.
and
That's
then,
so important. That's
yeah.
beautiful. And we are kind of amazingly coming to the end of our conversation. I have to say, I enjoy always the conversations that we have, and you're just such an interesting person. I feel like, oh, I want to have you now to come back on and talk about shamanism. That could be another whole conversation.
It
But
would be lovely.
yes, definitely. But what I do want to ask you is this program, although we're recording at the end of 2020, it's going to air early in 2021. So if people are interested in either taking a course with you, do you offer private instruction in some of these things like in meditation or mediumship?
If people would be interested, I would do that. I do not arrange it
Mm-hmm.
as such, but if people would be interested and would seek guidance, I could do that. I'm always open to that.
Mm-hmm.
And then people can find me through Facebook. I have a practice Facebook page,
Okay.
and they can find me there. And do you
And
want me to?
it's listed under your name, right? Juliet Joan Moll. And I'm going to, when I edit the video, I'll put your
Mhm.
name under there. So
Yeah.
if you go to Facebook and you type in Juliet Joan Moll, it will come, your page.
They will have to add to that DSNU, which
Okay.
stands for Diploma Holder of the Spiritualist National Union,
Okay.
and it will pop up.
Very good.
Yes,
Very
it will
good.
pop up.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness, it has just been such a joy to have you on my program, Juliet. And there's so many interesting threads. I feel like We started several conversations that could each one of them have taken off and gone on to its own whole entire program. So I will definitely have to ask you back. But for now, I'm going to thank you so much for having been my guest on Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. And I do feel very quickly your thoughts. 2021, are we going up from here? Hopefully not down, but any last thoughts for 2021? Just a little tip.
Yes, I would say to people, yes, we're going up, but please stay true to yourself, stay close to yourself. And if I may have one little tip more, I would say, take a long, deep breath. And on your in breath, you say sigh. And on your out breath, you say lens. So silence.
Silence.
Stay in the silence. Stay in the silence. On your in breath, sigh. And on your out breath, lens. It is just a very simple meditation.
Silence. That's gorgeous.
And whatever happens in life, go to your silence where you can find wisdom and help.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so very much, Juliet Joan Moll. Listen, it couldn't end on a better note. And thank you again so much for coming on my program. And yes, peace and blessings to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Carolyn, for giving me the opportunity. I really enjoyed it. And I hope to be here again with some other subject. But thank you. Thank you so much.
So, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Juliet Joan Moll. If you're interested in finding out more about her or scheduling a session for counseling with her, or interested in checking out her blog or her writing or any of the other wonderful things that we spoke about in the interview, you can find her on Facebook under her name, Juliet Joan Moll. And I will type it out here so that you can see it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this edition of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. Please remember to exercise judgment. Judgment is the byword for the next couple of weeks, at least until our next episode. So think before you leap, I would recommend. And meanwhile, wishing you a blessed, happy, and wonderful new year. If you're interested in getting a reading from me on the program, on air, you can write me at psychicplayroom@gmail.com. And that I will also type out here for you. So I hope to hear from you soon. Meanwhile, have a wonderful, wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.
Thoughts are things with the energy to make life better for you and for me. Touch the light.